We have a lot of opportunities
Going
with them.
live? Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, we're live. Yes. Hello,
awesome.
everyone. Hello, this is Irene from SaugaTalks and Brian Thomas from Coruzant. And we're speaking weekly with people who know something and everything about tech, about transformations, and about humans in all these difficult equations. So today we are so excited to have here with us Harold Sinnott. Hello, Harold. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about important stuff. But before we jump into future of work and inclusivity and recovery and just all these fun topics, I want to direct this conversation to my co-host, Brian Thomas from Coruzant. Brian, how was your week?
Week was great. I was out of town last week, so I certainly did miss the show, and it was hard to miss a show because I love
Unforgivable. This is
Unforgivable.
unforgivable, Brian.
But
Yeah.
the week's been great, getting back to diving into a lot of work. But I'm really excited and jazzed, and I woke up this morning feeling that way because we get to speak with another esteemed guest, Harold. So thank you again.
Harold,
My
fantastic,
pleasure.
fantastic. I know we're getting even busier than in pandemic's time because world seem to be waking up little by little. So how do you feel about this, Harold?
Oh, excited! I'm really feel excited because now since we'll start moving on again, we will start, and there's still will not be fast at the beginning at least. But last night, as an example, we had a gathering, a meeting, and we invited some people, and we have a lot of confirmations, and a few show up because they thought it was a virtual meeting instead of a face to face, because so it will take some time to get used to meeting it face to face again, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's what we want to talk about here because looks like the moment we're mentioning future of work, everybody's saying remote it is, right? But things are changing. So what I hear, hybrid model is getting popular. Many companies deciding, are we bringing, right, all our employees back in the office? Is it going to be mixture? So Harold, where do you see we are going this year?
What we know is that things will be totally different as before the pandemic. The pandemic brought us a reset of our life and the way that we work also. So because of that, we see this, and we still need to see more, and day by day things change it. But this trend of having people working remotely more or in a hybrid mode, that is working some days at home, some days at the office, this will really be something that will be very present it's starting to be, it's present now, but will be more present in the future, even after the pandemic. The
Yeah.
other thing is that for different countries is also comes in a different way. Some we are lucky here in the U.S. that we have really a campaign for vaccinations and vaccines that are available for everyone right now. Very it's not the same in other countries, and something that we learned from the pandemic with the health crisis that changed our life and the way we work is that it's not only about being ourselves well, not only our sins, our family, our country, is the whole world. The whole society needs to be in good health for having a healthy economy, for having a healthy workplace, and for having a healthy access to opportunities and resources for all.
Harold, thanks for sharing that. You're absolutely right. I do talk to a lot of companies, CEOs, technologists from around the world, and I do hear that it varies from country to country on what they're doing as far as lockdown and going back to the normal. But I think honestly, we need some hope and some light that this pandemic is going to go away and we can get back to seeing people face to face. And we're starting to see that even in New York right now. So that's important to get the message out, share the positivity. Let's get the world back to where we're going. Again, the good news is we've all innovated the last 14 months, which is amazing. Some great
Amen.
technologies have advanced literally 5 years easily. But it's time to get the positivity back into the workplace, get people jazzed to get out of their homes and out and live life again. So thank you for sharing.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. I totally agree with what you're saying, Brian. I mean, there is it varies in each country, and we need to pay attention for that to that. For us, that we have some global experience, management experience, and leadership experience in the corporate world, we see how important it is that to be able to communicate and to connect with people in a way in a good fashion. I mean, because there are still things that needs to be resolved, definitely. Do we have a lot of opportunity for improvement? Definitely. But we have the opportunity. We are getting out of this situation that was really stopping us for doing everything, and that is the pandemic. So right now, what we learn about this pandemic should be a part of our actions. I mean, the good lessons we need to implement more. And from what I see also, and Brian, Irene, I think you will agree with that also, and you have also your thoughts about it. All companies need to understand and is trying to understand this new reality and how we can contribute in different ways for having a better society, a better world. And that is what about technology. When we talk about technologies, technology that could be a great enabler for bringing a lot of things, as we learned during this time in the pandemic, with healthcare, with connectivity, with working from home, working in a hybrid mode also, and with a lot of new technologies that are coming into place, that are coming to the market, and that will be great also if we have a healthy world, a healthy society.
Absolutely. That's a paramount goal. No questions here. So, Harold, can you spell out what have company learned? Because we keep hearing how everyone got very efficient in managing their employees and getting the technology out that employees are all empowered and enabled to drive the productivity. But can you please spell out what is it that companies went through and what are the critical skills that people and organizations gonna take us forward?
Oh, definitely. Something that we mentioned also is that when we talk about the future of work, we were thinking about a far future of work, something that was going to come sometime in the future. And the pandemic brought everything to the present, to our present. When we're talking about digital transformation, we were talking about something that companies need to embrace digital transformation, but maybe less than 20% of the companies were working on that. Suddenly, we were immersed in a new future of work. We were immersed in digital transformation in a way that it was very fast compared to the space that we were having before. So from there, being immersed almost overnight in what was previously a far off future of work and digital transformation, we came to a new future of work that is present and that has been fueled by the pandemic, with technology accelerating innovation in different areas, particularly using technology. When we talk about in edge computing, now the multi-cloud situation, BSS services using the cloud, 5G implementation also accelerated. But this new future of work that has been fueled by the pandemic also brought, I would say, accelerated innovation in collaboration tools for remote work, working from home, hybrid work, as well as for networking, cybersecurity, and IT infrastructure. Because we learned a lot. Connectivity is more important than ever, but cybersecurity, we cannot be not paying attention to that. We need to be paying attention always to cybersecurity, because all the risks are increased right now, are going to be increased. We saw a lot of that. But we've all fast forwarded into a digital future, and I mean, the pandemic sped up this global transformation, or this digital transformation that we were experiencing at a very slow rate, I would say. But at the same time, I think we need to, when we talk about skills in particular, you say there are some things that are very common for everyone, not only in the work environment, but also in the family and friend society, such as video conference became an extended practice for everyone. A lot of people work, and companies such as Cisco, WebEx, and others started to improve their features and to really make and work hard with a lot of creativity and innovation to make these products and services of video conferencing more, I would say, with more innovation, more effective for collaboration and for inclusiveness also. That is another point that we are learning a lot, how important is to develop technology for an inclusive recovery, and that will be something that definitely will be present in our discussions in the following months also.
That's a great, Harold, that's a great point. Thanks for sharing. You know, I've seen in talking to people, a lot of people have taken this time to work from home, and some people actually, unfortunately, have lost their jobs due to the pandemic. So they're retooling, they're going back to school, they're using you know, online courses like Udemy, which are very inexpensive, to get retooled, to look at future of work. And you know, I had a podcast just a few months ago, not a podcast, a webinar with Jeff Wald. He writes this book about agile corporations and, you know, the future of robots and people that are freelancing. So, you know, and I don't want to, you know, throw another question here at you, but essentially we're going to see more people freelancing and working for agile companies, so to speak. So I see it already, and as people start to kind of head back to the office, I don't think everybody's going to move back. Even if the pandemic's completely gone, I don't think everybody's going to move back. It's going to start disrupting again. We were already in a disruptive era, but we're now really going to start disrupting. So I appreciate the share on that.
Oh, my pleasure. And to your point, this gig economy that also of having more freelancers is a challenge also for corporations when we talk about culture, because culture is difficult to build, but it's not impossible, definitely. But it's an everyday job for corporations, and particularly when you are in a global environment where you have different local cultures that influence the culture, the way of living and communicating from employees and from customers. So that is a challenge that always existed and exists now also. But now also, when you talk about a lot of freelancers, Brian, and this is absolutely true, and it's happening, and it's going to happen a lot continuously. Companies also have to worry how to bring these freelancers, all the gig economy, into their culture, to have the same to have that common set of values and principles and style that rules a company somehow in the relationship with their employees, with their customers, with the society in general. That is something that we cannot, that we also need to be paying a lot of attention. We need to bring everyone in, so we can share the culture, the values that we have, and really be in this way much more effective that if they don't do it. I mean, you cannot have a freelancer as somebody that you don't know how he or she thinks, that you don't care about their procedures or policies in their own organizations. You need to really embrace the common values and principles that bring us together, and at the same time that will be very positive and effective for an agile organization and business, but also for the well-being of the employees and the freelancers too, that you have to consider somehow of some type of employees also.
Absolutely, Harold. You know, when we're talking about gig economy and freelancers world, okay, I speak to some of the skeptics sometimes, and they saying, yeah, this is like good promise, okay, this sounds exciting for many, especially millennials, right? They would hate to be stuck in the office for their life, work life, right? But at the same time, we just changed. Some skeptics saying is not coming as fast as many of us would want to. So there is still benefits attached to your workplace workplace. There are so many other, right, pluses and minuses, just the ability to get out, as Brian mentioned, right? So how do you think we're gonna balance this out?
I mean, as always, and you mentioned the different generations are in place. Also, the multi-generation environment in our in the culture in the workplace is something that always existed, but will exist more than ever. Depending on the country, we think about some countries in other continents where the young people are going to be in a low rate comparing to other countries where we have more or the percentage of young people or younger people will be higher than the adults. So we have to balance that. But also from a career standpoint for people working, I mean, it's something that we discuss so many times and with some university students and in companies also when we talk about the entrepreneurial spirit that everyone has to have. That is important. I mean, our parents or former generations were thinking of working in a company and maybe forever. I mean, you were going to retire working in the same company. Then that started to change, and now it's something that is nobody thinks that too much. I mean, still we have a percentage of the workforce that yes, they're working in the same company. Something fall out. I'm sorry, that was my background. Yes, sorry about that. But I mean, you still have a percentage of people that are working and thinking or working in the same company. That is fine. But the concept of loyalty for employers will be has a trick here. It's different because what I mean, Irene, you were working at IBM, and all the people that I work with or I met from IBM during my career, I mean, the concept was life work was not I mean working for lives in the same company, same organization. Then things started to change, and this is the same applies to the gig economy or the freelancers. I mean, you already have that concept of when you are a freelancer, where you are independent, you have that concept of you want to be part of organizations, but in a different role that is independent. You want to be part of the process and the results and the benefits also somehow, but it's not that you're going to be there forever, and that is a big shift. I mean, the big shift is that we really need to bring everybody together, but also when you think with this mentality of that you're a freelancer, you need to connect it with your entrepreneurial spirit, and there are a lot of skills that you need to develop on that, and definitely are available. I mean, if you think what you were doing 10 years ago and what we are doing now, so I mean, our mindsets are totally different as 10 years ago. When you were in an organization that we had all the benefits, everything was happening, and we were working, but we were employed. Now we are not employed. Now we are by ourselves, and more of the work will be like that. The
That,
that is behind doesn't bother.
no, that's great. That's a good talking point when you have a disruption in your background. So Harold, you make some great points about the future of the workplace, and I think that's why it's so important to focus on the culture of a company. Whether you're a contractor, freelancer, or an employee, it's important because loyalty still plays a part of this. And in order to build a good brand and the loyalty, you're going to have to really focus on the culture, and that takes effort from everybody. But you're absolutely right. You know, if you can get employees that buy in and enjoy working in that culture and contributing to that culture, you're going to have customers for life, and that's the way I look at it. So thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. And you're absolutely right, because the purpose of the business should be broad. But when talking about customers, we want to retain customers. We want to gain new customers, but the most important thing is to retain them, to have them forever, as you mentioned, for life. And that is that's part of how you manage the cultural aspects of the organization that has a lot of people from different origins. Uh, when we talk about diversity right now, well, this is included when we talk about the type of employees. Remember, in the past we were talking, or sometimes we're talking today also about employee category and level, and we were saying, okay, we have employees that depending on how long they are with the company, or depending if they are the managerial skills of their managers, their supervisors, director, whatever. Well, that is part of the diversity, certainly, but also working with different people is something that is a very important skill. Uh, Last year, and we still have a lot of discussions about the Black Lives Matter movement, and what I heard, because we need to listen a lot to in this process. It's not something that is easily to understand. Basically, the feeling of being not part of the society, or to be a citizen, a second class citizen. Same thing we need to bring to the organization. Same thing we have to be, because everything start of how we move, how we behave when we work, and when we do things in a different way. I mean, with people from a uh, diverse place. I mean, we have people. It's not only. I remember those statistics that we need to use for the Secretary of Labor Department of Labor, I'm sorry, that says that how's the representation that you have of minorities in, so you have a percentage that you need to report every year, how many black people, Latino people, how many, all the Asian American, and when you say this, and we especially say, okay, if I have a good balance, I'm okay with diversity and with inclusion, but it's not like that. Something that we are learning a lot in this process, and really we need also to train people. When we had the opportunity, we need to train, and we need to talk about this. Is that it's not only to have different people from different, or it's also to understand their ideology, their thoughts, their principles, their values. And it's not about saying, getting into a position that you say, okay, I will, even if I don't think in the same way, I will tolerate. It's not about tolerance. We need to go an extra mile there. It's about accepting. It's about integrating. And with these discussions about inequality and also I mentioned that the Black Lives Matter movement, and but there are a lot of other considerations that we need to take into account here in this process. If we are looking, and we need to look, and we need to work for an inclusive recovery. This is an opportunity, a very important opportunity, and the opportunity is that we are talking about these topics as never before. And so the concept of tolerance and acceptance and integrating is different, because it's trying to bring people together, no matter your religion, no matter your ethnic, no matter the way that you think. But we need also to establish some common rules, some common ground, and that common ground is when we talk about with people of different nationalities and different religions, different beliefs. So there are things that we have in common, about really working for helping people to develop, to grow in the life and dignity of everyone, and no matter nationality, no matter where you are, and also creating a space for people to be able to talk and to express themselves in a free way, I mean, freely, absolutely freely. That is, we have that opportunity right now, and I think because we are discussing, I said, but it's part of how what we need to train also in the organizations is we need to bring new technologies. We need to bring, yes, more great customer experiences. We need to work on the customer experiences, but we need also to work on these concepts of a more inclusive society. And that is, I think, this is a great opportunity now that the pandemic has started to slow down in local level, and also will do that in the global level, I think.
Yep, absolutely, Harold. I wanted to take our conversation into this inclusiveness, but also, empathy. empathy going forward, because as people feel isolated, all kinds of people, okay, young and not so young, blondes and
Right.
brunettes, this belief or that belief, right? All different cultural backgrounds, we're all humans, and we all feel isolated sometimes. So people who heard my podcast before, I worked from home since early 2000s. For me, it's
Okay.
nature. For me, I love it. I loved it to be able to look at the grass, not at the office wall. I loved getting out of my workspace, my home office, to see people at the meetings, at conferences. I love travel the world and all that, for sure, right? Meeting people, professionals, all kinds of, right, backgrounds and very interesting stories I will have to tell, places I visited while working, so amazing. At the same time, I know that many people not as agile, and they do feel isolation even
Mhm.
now, right? And especially younger people who starting their career now, right? They do need this camaraderie, so to speak, in the office. I cannot believe it, but I hear that from younger, from college graduates now, that they want to see people, they want to be part of the teams. Okay, so what do you think we can offer, or managers or companies? Because as much as we want productivity, you cannot expect productivity if people simply unhappy. So what do you
I,
think? Mm-hmm.
I mean, Irene, I think you are touching a great point, because this is something that we need to consider all the time. Something that I learned from one of my mentors in life, and particularly when I was working at Motorola. I remember I had a mentor, Bill Wihenhunt, who was a president, and he always come to talk to everyone, to everybody. And from our first days there in Motorola, and he said, listen to the young people. And I said, what that has to be with business? What means? But then I realized what he was saying. I say, and he was always giving us that advice: talk to young people, listen to them, try to understand what they are thinking, what they are discussing, what their needs are, what their fears are, and and it's something that I get it as a practice. And right now with social media, we have that opportunity because we are connected with everybody, and we want to talk with everyone or anybody in the world that accepts our to talk with us. And if we have particularly opened our direct messages, and or we're talking on Twitter or LinkedIn, the DMs, we have the opportunity to connect with more people. And you discover a lot of time this need that you were mentioning, Irene, that is so important to understand the need to be part of something. They need to be understood on their thoughts, and I mean, even if they're wrong, but I mean, we need to talk. We need to have these conversations, and also uh, feeling that they have a part in the community, in the society. Sometimes I have chats on social media with young people from different countries in the Middle East, and also in Saudi Arabia, Africa. A lot of I was delivering some webinars for Nigeria with very good people that have these common values of trying to help society and to bring these new skills available for everyone, everybody. But that is something that we need to really, it's something that we can do. But coming again to the young people, or confronting simply because they have other way of saying things, and it's not the way that we need to proceed. We really need to embrace them. We really need to help them to get into this reality that we are living, and that will be also part of the workforce, let me say, of the companies that need to really hire people. Because talking about Google as an example, Google, they are thinking they are not going to pay more attention if you have a doctorate or
Mm-hmm.
master degree or a bachelor. They will be paying more attention, and other companies such as Microsoft are thinking the same, to those skills, specific skills that are needed for doing a job. And in this situation, that with the future of work and with all this transformation that is coming, where yes, a lot of jobs will disappear. That's true. That is going to happen, but much more will come. I mean, we'll have a lot of new jobs, but we need to make sure that we make available training for that job, for all those jobs everywhere. So then companies that are there are some companies that are really doing a very good job on this, on trying to facilitate the training on specific skills for countries all over the world, and there are others that are going to do it maybe, but we need to think on this, on how to bring people to have the skills that are needed, because even if we have a lot of innovation that definitely we are having, and we will have a lot of more innovations thanks to all this transformation and technology that is no more incremental in terms of innovation, it's more exponential in terms of innovation. But it's all these offerings and all these we don't have I mean, we need to, what I was saying is that we need to train people and to make accessible all the training for everyone, so they have the digital skills and the digital skills training that will support all these new technologies. And so we need to invest in education, not only for ourselves but for others also. That is what I all the time think when we talk about this. And I'm really passionate about having this discussion and conversation. So I'm very grateful of this space that you both are having this podcast, because we're not talking about definitely a product only or technology product. We are talking about what about society, about what you can do, and everyone can do. I mean, in terms of companies, organizations, for really building a better world.
Harold, you're absolutely right. At the foundation of it all, it's people, it's society, our communities. And I definitely want to just add, education is more important than ever. We do, as machine learning comes more into our lives, and as these machines take over, there are jobs that are going to go away forever, but there are going to be a lot more jobs being created, new jobs that have never been created before. But I think that the foundation for education is also good communication skills and good listening skills. If we're going to be inclusive, if we're going to have better relationships, build that better culture, we need to incorporate those soft skills training that we need. And that's where I think we fail a lot. Yes, training is important and education, but we got to get those soft skills in. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up with that, and I'll turn it over to Irene. I know we're over time, so thank you, Harold.
Yes, I would like to continue, Harold, because you are an enormous wealth of wisdom and experiences here. We're gonna come back to this topic for sure. So I love leaving our audiences with some takeaways. Are there some thoughts, Harold, you kind of want to summarize and send out as a message?
Oh, definitely. Thank you. I think that participation is key. And you see that with the pandemic, after the pandemic, we all learned how to do video conference and to connect more with people, no matter your age. I mean, my mom is 94 and she's on Facebook. She checks my tweets sometimes. But a lot of people doing that, no matter the age. And that is so important. We need but participation, and I take your words also, Brian, with a positive attitude. I mean, conflicts and negativity we have everywhere. And when we turn on the TV, the radio, whatever, complaints we have everywhere. We need to really share the good message, the positive attitude that everyone has on needs to build a better society. And technology has a great role at this time. That's why we talk about technology for good. Definitely, we need to use it for good. And this is an opportunity to have this participation and to encourage the participation of everybody in the business environment, but in the society in general too.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Happy Friday, everybody. That's why we're here with some positive reinforcement saying life is beautiful. That's how Harold greeted us today, because it is. So happy Friday, everyone. Wonderful weekend ahead. Harold, thank you so much for this talk.
Thank you for having me. Great pleasure.